All right, let's kick this thing off here. Mic check, mic check. Should be able to hear. Is Mike in the room? Mic check. Mr. Blue here should be able to hear, see the screen, all that. Welcome, welcome. TradePhantoms.com. Spend about an hour with you folks in here. Got what streaming on YouTube. Do some pre-market prep. Take us into the open at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. A little bit less than an hour away. See if we have some setups off the open, which we could potentially execute. Try my best to identify some of those. Today's date, of course, going to be Thursday, the 25th of September, 2025 in the year. Last full week of September. Time is flying. Next week starts a new month, can bring October. Kind of crazy, but here we are, right? Great. So I'll start off just really quickly here. News. Just went to forexfactory.com really briefly. And today being Thursday, the 25th, what's going on? 1 ounce of theory. What's going on, Charles? Kurt G. Good to go. Good to go. Check, check. We did have some economic news that just came out about 8:30 a.m. Eastern, so about 20 minutes ago. Final GDP, unemployment claims, durable goods, et cetera, all that good stuff. As always, we're going to see how the markets react and respond to that. Markets are down off the back of yesterday. So, yeah, we'll see if that continues. We'll get to the charts in a moment. Tomorrow being Friday, we do have core PCE, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Then we have a 10 o'clock a.m. hit time for revised consumer sentiment. So there's nothing else. Actually, I shouldn't say that. 10 a.m. Eastern, I skipped over this, existing home sales, right? As far as an impact, it's okay. Nothing too crazy. We had new home sales yesterday. They really didn't do much. And then we have existing here today, 10 a.m. Eastern. So that's about 30 minutes after the open. It's not super impactful, but something to be noteworthy of. There's more important things on the backdrop versus just existing home sales, but that is on the dock there. I'll start off with this, as always, every day. Okay, I got this document that I bring up no matter what. Demand supply, institutional demand supply, that is the main strategy backdrop of Trade Phantoms, top-down multiple time frame analysis. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of orange, yellows, and blue in terms of color codes on my charts. The reason why I do that is for orange is going to be a monthly time frame designation. So anything that you do see in the color orange is monthly time frame in regard, right? Monthly highs, monthly lows, monthly VWAP, so on and so forth. Weekly is going to be color code yellow, followed by daily blue. Daily is blue. Okay, so monthly, weekly, daily, orange, yellow, blue. That's a quick little checklist there to kind of begin your trade plan. Even if you are a short-term scalper, I had a question in regard to this yesterday. Even if you are scalping, say, S&P, NASDAQ, or gold or oil futures, just for a couple of ticks even, okay, you still need to know where you are on the higher time frames, monthly, weekly, dailies. Super important there. Candlesticks, a bunch of fancy names. Don't really need to know and memorize the names as much, but memorize the formations, and context and location is going to be more important. Typically, you're going to be looking for these in the context of an uptrend coming out of demand or in demand zones. All right, candlestick formations. Bearish candlesticks, a bunch of fancy names. Context and location more important. Downtrends into supply is going to be more of a higher probability. Of course, we're in a bull market. Most things are in an uptrend at the moment. All right, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to find downtrends, but they're out there if you try to find them and filter those out. And then we got the liquidity map, and this is super important. We discussed this in what's called advanced futures, where we have a couple of classes. We have a lot more time. Right now, we're going to be doing pre-market prep and trading live off the open. Right? Yes, Phantoms, we trade with you. Okay, well, I trade with you, of course, and take the setups, and I put my money where my mouth is, et cetera, and try to help the team here get into the professional side of trading and investing, right? So this is 4 quadrants here. If I stop moving this, okay, quadrant 3 and 2 connected into an uptrend, and then quadrant 1 and 4 connected into a downtrend, and understanding your mean reversions, extensions, so on and so forth. All right, 2 actions, buys and sells, but 4 possibilities to get to know the difference. And of course, we talk about that more. Definitely not at the time and place right now. 37 odd minutes before the market opened. Let's go to the charts. Good stuff here, right? So starting off with the major 4 indexes, just really briefly, not the IV gauge, not implied vol. What's implied vol, you ask? It's important. We got the S&P daily time frame upper left. Can't even see the chart. NASDAQ upper right, Dow Jones lower left, Russell 2000 bottom right. So you can see S&P's down sub 0.57%, NASI 0.76, got a pullback, right? Dow 0.36, Russell 2000 small caps down already 1%, drop down now here just off of the high here, dropping down into the mean revert. Mainly going to be focusing on the S&P and NASDAQ. And if I kind of zoom in here, I can barely even see this candle, but as you can see right now, yes, futures are down 0.5% at the moment. And if I look at, this is Monday, right? This is Monday, 9/22, right here, bullish day on Monday, right? Inside day on Tuesday. We were talking a little bit about that, I believe, yesterday being Wednesday, okay? And then we finally, yesterday, it's kind of a little bit rangy in the morning. We were below view up all day for the most part. And then finally, kind of 12 o'clock noon-ish, give or take, markets kind of dropped down and actually had some nice follow through to the downside with VIX spike up. I will talk about VIX as well. So we were kind of working on the bearish side yesterday and let it flushed out a little bit there. And then we got a little bit of a long bullish situation toward yesterday as well. Long didn't really pan out as much for a little bit, but it had a little bit of a bounce there. I'll get down to the small time frames in a moment. Here's today's current price, and we're already outside, right? We're outside of the prior day low, prior day high. We broke Monday's high, Monday's low, which was the mother bar for the week so far, up until yesterday being Wednesday, we had to drop down. Okay, so of course we're going to have some levels here. I didn't delete yesterday's work. I'll show you all that in a moment. And what we're going to update for today, one of the things that we want to make note of, and I already have a note of this, is this candle right here, which was 9/17, which is September 17th. That was last Wednesday where we had the Fed FOMC meeting. Okay, so why am I even bringing that back up? Well, that is the Fed day low right there. It's also last week's low as well, in addition to that, right? So yesterday, last Wednesday, Federal Reserve low, and then it happens to also just be, because it was Wednesday of last week, happens to be last week's low as well. In addition, we also have that 20-period moving average hovering at or around that literal last week's low and Fed low. We also have this unfilled gap in the S&P futures on the unadjusted chart at 65.88. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to be looking for is what's called a G trap, and also be potentially looking for a break of this potential low where there might be some liquidity. Okay, unfilled gap right below that, and so we could potentially set up what's called a G trap long. Okay, I will drop down to the smaller time frames in a moment to refine that a bit there. All right, so just making note of this 66.10 level, give or take, as that's last week's low in the Fed low, and the 20-period moving average also as a confluence. Okay, on the daily time frame here. NASDAQ futures moving on here. Here's the current price. All right. Here's Monday, inside bar. Tuesday, right? Oh, so Monday, Tuesday, inside bar. Wednesday, breakdown. Okay, we broke down a little bit there yesterday. And a couple levels here. In short, if I look down and left, where is the Fed low? This is last week's low, 9/17, and also the Fed low. So last week / Fed low. I'm going to put that yellow so it kind of sticks out a little bit there weekly. All right, on S&Ps, I kept it kind of like a blue color, if you will. Put on NASI here, NASDAQ futures daily time frame here, by the way. But just made that yellow there. Okay, that's that last week's low and Fed low. We still have this unfilled gap on NASDAQ as well, 24,115 on the unadjusted. Okay, so we'll see that could potentially be a decent little low, Fed low. And last week's low. All right. This could potentially be an interesting area. 20-period moving average literally on that weekly line right there on yellows. All right. And so we'll see. We have a couple levels in here, but again, with this momentum, potentially, okay, we could potentially flush out, right? Markets flush out very quickly and they grind higher, right? So, we'll see if that happens. Going to prepare that. When I drop down to the smaller time frames, which I'm going to do right now, I'm going to map out above the Globex high today. What kind of supply levels that we have mapped out above, right, which I'm going to do right now. Dow Jones, cool, 30 stocks, whatever, industrial, old, right, whatever, less exciting there. No offense to anybody who trades Dow. And then small caps, Russell, you love them, you hate them, but typically NASDAQ and the S&P are more of my wheelhouse there. So I'm more of an S&P specialist than anything. Anyways, I digress. Lay the land here really quickly. All right, got think or swim here. And no matter what, I always start with no matter what. I've got a monthly here on the left, weekly here in the middle. What's going on, Walter? And a daily on the right, monthly, weekly, daily. All right, super important. No matter what that you're doing, and even as a short-term trader. Dropping to the smaller time frames, just to give you all the lay of the land here. I got the 60-minute time frame up here, 1 hour, 30-minute here on the bottom left, followed by the 5-minute here, 2-minute time frame on the right. Hyper focus on the 1 hour time frame at the moment. Okay, and we have a couple notes down here, right? This is the Fed low, last week's low. Okay, down in this area here. Make sure we understand this unfilled gap. Here's the comp price right now. So I'm just again referencing those levels that I was looking at below. Okay, so that's here. All right. Raining outside. All right, so this is last week's low. Right here, Fed day low as well, right? And the exact price is low is 66.11. So this is off a little bit. All right, get that retest level. That was once the all-time high before that rollover. Then we just gapped up. So I just referenced that. Then we get this unfilled gap. See, we closed it, we gapped up there. Okay, so that unfilled gap comes in at call it the 65.88 handle as well. All right. So this also has the 20-pay moving average. Whoops. Confluenced as well at around here. All right, so I know it's going to be kind of a wide zone here, folks, if you will. All right, but this whole area here, I already have a box here, so let me just take this one. This whole area here is going to be fairly interesting for today's session. All right, now if you notice, we already dropped down a bit, and we're away from here. So, this white line right here is daily VWAP for overnight. Here, get the 20, get the 50, we got the 50 as well. Just an EMA on a small time frame right now. As you can see, we're making new lows away from what's called the mean. Okay, so even though we're down and we're gapping down, does not mean that we're just going to continue down. So we could have a mean reversion here. Okay, but we could flush out a little bit lower. Now, before I delete yesterday's work, we had yesterday's Globex high here, Globex low here. We had a couple levels mapped out below. Okay, we had some daily lows here. We weren't even really looking at these levels here. All right, we wanted to wait for so we were getting short, right? So we were working shorts yesterday. Okay, in the live trade room. And took a couple shots because it was a little choppy, right? In the morning, right? We dropped down a little bit, and then we started to get short, right? TP'd some, and then kind of chopped around a little bit, got stopped out of one trade, and then got short again, and then we finally, third time was a charm. We really flushed out. And we had a couple. That was the Globex low yesterday, so we were kind of waiting for levels down in here, the 66.90, 66.85. Then we referenced this daily low, 66.78, right there on futures, and that flushed out. And this is where we had what's called a positive gamma node. In the SPX. So this is where we actually started to leg in. Okay, we started to leg in a little bit here and here. Okay, taking profits from shorts and then legging into some longs for that bounce. Okay, so I had to cut out a little the trade room a little bit earlier yesterday, but that was annoying. But hopefully y'all did well and navigated that very nicely there. Okay, now that was yesterday, right? So I'm going to update into today. Okay, now I leave the boxes here for reference. All right, but you see all these lines here. I have to update that, right? So actually, yesterday we actually went through a couple of daily lows there, right? The prior day's low, and then we sifted out that which we noted here, the last week's Friday's low, which is a liquidity sweep right down in there. That's where that positive gamma node lined up. Okay, so I'm just going to delete these lines, but I'll keep the boxes there, okay, for reference. Okay, here's why. Because I want to update today. Here's the Globex high line that I like to use here in blue, and make that go right there, because that is the overnight high in Thinkorswim. This is the gray space here, overnight session, right? So you can see we got kind of off the back of yesterday's little bounce at the end of day, right? 1 hour time frame of S&P futures here. Okay, we just kind of grinded up a little bit there here overnight, and of course, starting at midnight Eastern time, give or take. Okay, you can see we started to really kick off and drop. Now we have this Globex low, which is currently right there, as you can see in this gray space. All right. This is also, I would say, yesterday's high. We can also reference this. This is going to be important because now that we're starting to really drop down and correct lower a bit more, right? If I look at the 1 hour time frame, okay, we actually are in a downtrend on the 1 hour time frame, right? Does that make sense? So if I look over here, we have like impulse, correction, impulse, high, 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 low, right? Then we have a correction, and then this is the correction. This should have made it equal to or higher high right here, right? But markets need to pull back a little bit there, right? Did not, and then we started to break down. Yesterday was finally that break that broke the 60-minute time frame, higher high, high, low structure uptrend. But now we're on a 60-minute downtrend, right? But folks, are we still in a massive uptrend on the monthlies, weeklies, and dailies? Yes, 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 indeed. Okay, so if you can see that, well, you can't see this, right? S&P futures. Let me just go to SPY just because it's a little bit more cleaner just right now, just to paint the picture. All right, yes, over the past two days, what have you, and now we're gapping down a little bit more. Okay, yes, we're pulling back. Okay, but we're still in a higher high, higher low sequence here. Okay, this is the new highest high right here. So this level right here on SPY, let's call it 654. Got a daily time frame here on the right. It's going to be a major hit point, as that's going to be a daily low. That's kind of holding this, just last week's low as well, right? This is holding this high, 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 low structure. Okay, but we can sweep below last week's low. Right. So, anyways, I don't want to spend too much time on that and get into the weeds on that. Getting back over here. I see you question YT. I got you covered, buddy. Since yesterday's high. Let's see. Blue, is there? There is a 9/7 weekly VWAP at 66.35. How much attention should I give it? 66.35. It's all wick on the. It's all wick on because you want a level aligned with VWAP as well, right? Now that will align up with. I would say there's the Globex low. If we look down and left, and you're looking at the 35 handle, that's weekly VWAP there. It's all wick on the 60. We could drop down a small time frame and see if there's a smaller time frame level within that as well. If that makes sense. But this, in terms of structure, okay, this is mainly going to be the impulse basing impulse over here, right? And there's going to be a lot of weekly. There's a weekly low, daily low right in there. So again, if momentum picks up, there's all wick here in terms of a level. It might want to sift out some lower liquidity. All right, does that make sense? Now, there's going to be a lot more information that we're going to get. With options depth, et cetera, right? And so in terms of positive gamma as well. But if you drop down into the smaller time frame here, okay, like watch this. If I go to, let's go like a 5 and put more time on this. So if I zoom in, there's the 66.35. There's Fed Day. 35. There's something there, but not much, right? It's just more of a wick. So that's why I'm kind of sifting out a little bit more lower down in here as formation wise. Make sense? All right, cool. So we got. So, I just got this 60-minute low right there. No big deal. Again, I want to be extremely careful with this. We're going to be essentially having to look at some OD down in this area, options depth into here, right? So let me get to that. All right, so just to be conservative with you folks in here, okay, watch out for the 66.10, okay, down into this 65.90, okay, like a nice little 20-point zone, right? Right. Also, we got an even number wrapped around there as well. So like right below that 66, people are like, oh, it just broke 6,000. Let me get short. And chase. Red bar, lower. So it's gonna be a nice little area here for a potential just mean revert bounce. I'm giving y'all more of the conservative one here. All right, below that, Globex low. Globex high, now we have supply above, right? So we got, if this is the Globex high, I think the supply level above the Globex high. Okay, we do of course have, this is, we have a drop. Here's just a correctional move basing. And then we, of course, ding. Yesterday we just dropped down, right? We dropped down. I know it was a little choppy right there for about an hour and a half, give or take. We finally fell through. There goes the flush, and then there goes the bounce. So yesterday we have this little supply area here, and then yesterday's high. Now we're still in a bull market uptrend, right? So do you think there's going to be some stop losses placed right above here? So if anybody put their entry right there, or the stop loss right above the prior day high, you're looking or asking to be market maker shark bait. So here I would almost suggest, okay, to put an entry, okay, right above there. And the best way, I don't have enough time to explain this 20 minutes before the open, but y'all have a level get stopped out, right, and then it works out right in your favor. So this is going to be stop loss placement, but you can also put, I would say, suggest to put an entry, G-trap short here. Okay, we're just going to be bearish. Above yesterday's high. So if long happens, if there's a long, because we could rally up, right? Of course, this would be what TP into this area, TPs into this area here, if long, and for a G trap short, we'd have to be above the Globex high for the setup, okay? And I'm looking for an institutional level of supply above the Globex high, okay? Up and left, okay? We got this, and of course we got yesterday's high as well up there, which could potentially be liquidity sweep. I'm not sure if we're gonna get all the way up there, but definitely noteworthy there. There might be a little guy right here too. You see this little right above this Globex high. There's a drop. There's a basing. This was the basing yesterday, like kind of choppy. That we were very patient with this yesterday in the live trade room with the team. So good job, team. All right, we didn't get so itchy to get long right. So we like waited, and then worked on the shorts until we flushed lower. But this is also a bit of a supply level, okay, that formed yesterday that really broke down, and that's going to be above Globex high in addition, right? So this is also something that we could potentially reference in regard to a G trap short. Call it the 67.14 handle, give or take. S&P futures. And there you go. All right, so we got new low flush. After new low, folks, what for my trained Phantoms members in here? What quadrant are we in on the 60-minute time frame, y'all? Impulse correction. We're in quadrant number 4, right? So about to cover exits, downtrend, reversal, long entries, right? So 60-minute downtrend, lower low. If we flush out, engage, right? Remember, this is the 20-pid moving average on the daily. So what's more stronger, the 20-pid moving average on the daily going up, hitting level of demand, or a 20-pid moving average on a 60-minute time frame sloping down, making lower low, lower high? Okay, so this could be the extension on the small time frames, okay, away from the mean, okay? Anybody who's trying to short now, chase down here, not so great. So we'll see if we can get this extension new low. And this will be what's called a front side entry bullish into this demand last week's low, 20-pid moving average as well, Fed day low, okay? And then that would be a downtrend on the 60, flush out, body cover. This could be a buy to enter. Okay, so I want the smaller time frames, 60-minute time frame here, 30-minute time frame, to be extended as we're mean reverting back into the daily mean reversion 20-pid moving average here. Okay, so super important there, all right? I digress. NASDAQ. So it's a counter trend on the 60-minute time frame, but it's with trend on the higher time frames. All right, so everybody's like, oh, what's trend? What's trend? You got to know what trend is in control from the higher to the lower, but that's in more due time. Here is going to be NASDAQ on a 1 hour time frame. All right, we're going to go a little more quicker here. Yesterday's high, yesterday's low, Globex. Okay, we didn't even really have these on the board because we were kind of more aggressive, waiting for those flushes lower. All right, we had these couple levels down here. Okay, just flushed out, right? And now we have the correction, and then now we're on new lows. So here's the new Globex low here today. Globex high here. All right, I'll keep these boxes here for reference, but I'm going to update this. This is now yesterday's high. Yep, monthly VWAPs, etc. Working on the supply above Globex high. This is all kind of trashy, but this is a shitty supply zone above Globex high, so be careful with this one. Above the Globex high could be a G-trap short. Yesterday's high is a reference there too. I would suggest not to put your stop loss right above yesterday's high. No. Okay, first level of supply above Globex high. A little bit of a drop base drop in there. All right. Delete these just for right now. All right, keep those boxes on there just for reference. All right, there's the Globex low. And again, there's last week's low in here, so just a ton of stuff down here. Again, giving you the more conservative levels. You might want to wait for the 24,300/24,236, as that will be last week's low sweep. And if yesterday was any testament to what today may be, give or take, okay, this market's flushing more, right? It's like waiting, it's flushing, it's sifting out a couple of, not just yesterday's low, but a couple daily lows as well. So last week's low is going to be more down here. So if that, again, same thesis where if this thing gets extended, okay, then higher time frames, we're going to be mean reverting down in this area here, all right, and then we're extended on these 30-minute, 60-minute, because markets just don't go straight down, right? So like lower low, correction, lower low. At some point, there's going to be some kind of correction, because even if I wanted a short team, right? If I wanted a short, right now I'm on equal to or new lows. So if I wanted a short, I want to wait for a retracement up into a supply level. Okay, so you have to be careful with these bounces though, because it could go lower, go lower before we get that correctional move. So I actually like volatility. I like speed. So like if this thing was actually like flush lower, let's go move, so I can react and respond and do my thing. Or do our thing, right? It's not about I, but y'all can showcase that, right? And we were working on that yesterday, right? So that pretty decent. Now below the Globex low, of course, I'm sure some folks are investigating this area in here. Okay, we do have a couple of this is that 30-minute, 60-minute level low right in there. Now there's an impulse, basic impulse right below the Globex low here today. If you look, here's the current price. There's the Globex low. Let me just take this off. There's the Globex low, right? So if I look down and left, there's some demand right in here, but I'd be extremely careful with this. If you do try to take a couple of these little baby demand levels right below the Globex low, which is by strategy decent, but you also have to qualify that demand level. So this would be insanely aggressive, but it could provide a bit of a bounce there, I will say, on that new low segment, if we make that below the Globex low. But I'm going to keep that gray and make a note with an asterisk on it, which represents aggressive. So you might want to wait for maybe a confirmation or positive COG out of here. All right, so cautious. cautious, cautious, cautious. Whatever. Next, VIX, where you at? Howdy, Super Dave. What's going on, brother? So hard to catch those reversals. Keep at it, Sebastian. Keep at it, brother. But yeah, instead of trying to catch reversals, engage with the overall trend. The challenge with this is we have down on the 60s and 30s, for example, but up on the monthly, weekly, and dailies, right? So just be patient, right? To catch those reversals, wait for higher time frames, right? Wait for the higher time, right? Like there might be a 60-minute. We were talking about this discussion yesterday. There might be a 60-minute or a 30-minute, which is an intermediate, smaller time frame demand level, right? That looks beautiful, right? But it might not be a daily low or a weekly low or anything like that, right? So, like for example, even though this is just a wick right here, right? And there's right if I go to a 1 minute time frame, there's a drop, there's a quick little probably basing, I'm sure here. Then there's a rally here. But what's so important about this area right here is because this is a weekly low, folks, right? Does that make sense? So as a 6-minute, 30-minute is making a quote unquote new low, right? Making a new low, a weekly low, but that weekly low is at or around the 20 moving average on the daily time frame here, right? Does that make sense? Okay, so as the dailies mean reverting, that 60-minute and 30-minute is getting more extended. Okay, so to catch that reversals, you want to have the higher time frames association. So this level right here, even though we'd be a little bit below the 20 moving average, it's just a guideline here. It can go a little bit below that. Okay, that's fine. Right, no big deal. But that area right there, this would be, and that's the thing. If we swipe down lower, that almost feels more nervous to say, oh my God, should I really be, if this market is crushing lower, should I really start to get like long down here at this weekly low into this area here? The answer would be yes, right? And that would be the better one versus something like a 60-minute or 30-minute impulse basing impulse, just like a level that has no daily low or weekly low associated with it, okay? Because folks, these markets, daily high, daily low, basically this form here, this sheet is so important because when you map out these monthly highs and monthly lows, starting even with last month's high, last month's low, last week's high, last week's low, and they get the daily, right? Yesterday's high, yesterday's low, a couple daily highs and lows just for the week. These are super important because these are going to be hit points, okay, for buying and selling liquidity, right? People entering, exiting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, super important there. Mike Jameson, how you doing, brother? Hell yeah. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the most part. Above Globex high, boom, boom, 2 levels there. Below the Globex low, okay, I've got an aggressive level, kind of grade that, dark that out a little bit there. And then this is still aggressive here, 24,384. Down here is a bit more conservative, which is going to be better location. I just had a little small TED talk there. Why is this better? Because we got a weekly low down here as well. And that's where the 20 moving average is on the daily time frame here. All right, enough of that. We got 8 minutes before open. 2 backed up. So much to cover. Never enough time. All good. I'm the one that controls the mic, so it's on me. We got VIX. Where you at? If you don't know what VIX is and you're trading, you better know what VIX is or you're going to need VIX body rub because you get hurt. VIX up, market down. VIX down, market up. Inverse correlation. We've got a 17 painted VIX right now. It's still relatively low, but we're elevated, right? We're elevated, right? Markets are down a little bit for 1 or 2 days, give or take, off the all-time highs. That's normal, all right? Crash is coming. We'll see, right? Whatever. I've been hearing that for 10 years, right? But we got VIX, right? We'll chart this on the higher time frames, of course, but we're also going to chart this on the smaller time frames, just like we did on the overnight high, overnight low, and futures on the S&Ps and NASDAQ. We can do this overnight high here on VIX. There you go, Mark. That's why you're a champion. Been doing quadrant 1-4 all morning in NQ 5-minute. So Mark understands liquidity, and basically in English, what he's saying there is just working NASDAQ ding, selling short rallies into mean reverts VWAP 20 EMAs, and then waiting for equal to or new lows to take profit. Simply put, my man, Mark Wahlberg. All right, overnight high, overnight low in VIX. So far, VIX is up, right? VIX is up about 6%. Is that going to continue? We map out the overnight high. If we do take out overnight high and sustain up, if VIX is up, market would be down for the most part. I just kind of pinned last time I saw it, which is right there. And then I usually just put a pin real quick here on the overnight low. If we were to snap the overnight low, that would give back all of the VIX move up. That would be more bullish for the market. So if we get down in here in VIX, that means the market's probably fading higher or fading higher, typically most likely above VWAP. All right, 6 minutes we're going to get the open where the game will begin. Spies. Before I delete this, this was yesterday's action. Once this loads here. The more I learned, the more I realized the iceberg of trading knowledge between Teach and myself. Always appreciate it, though. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Trading is a internal journey. Oh, he's going to start talking and TED talking and Tony Robbins me. Tony Robbins. Yes, trading is an internal journey to yourself. You think it's about other things, but it's internal. Markets don't care about people. They just do what they do, right, based on buys and sells. Buys and sells. Anyways, too early for that. 5 minutes before open. I didn't delete this just yet. If for my Phantoms members, or even if you're non-Phantoms members, what are you waiting for? What do you need more evidence? Evidence. Check the YouTube page. Trade tape every day. Trade rooms. But this was yesterday's action there below VWAP. So if y'all want to take a picture of that, execution wise. All right, got a little time there, but I'm going to delete this because this is today's action. So this was VWAP. We just sold short into VWAP, took profit, got stopped out break even, got short again, got stopped out, then got short a third time. Then we really cranked out. As we started to get lower down in here, we started covering shorts, and then we started to buy to enter long bullish. All right, down in here for a bounce, but that's old now, right? And we TP'd I had the TPs for longs, set that up, and so hopefully I'll do good on that. I'm just going to go through gaps very quickly. Let's go weekly on the left, daily on the right. All right, yesterday's low here. So we sifted out through a couple of those, not just yesterday's low, but daily low, sifted through there. Kind of had a 20 gamma node on SPX, and then that was where the low happened. All right, this is the only chart that's not updated, so all the other ones, I have only 3 minutes though. All right, SPY implied, SPX implied open, we're down what, about 0.46%, SPX. .46 brings us to SPX roughly 66.05, 66.10, give or take implied open. Let's take a quick peek at gamma. $66.10. Zoom in a little bit here. So 6600 has a decent positive gamma node here. 6650 massive positive gamma node. All right, so 6600 might be decent there for a bit of some, a little bit more of what's called a demand positive gamma node. 85 and 80 has a little something there too as well. Of course, 65, 50 massive one there. It's a little bit light above. It's a little bit light above in terms of gamma. All right, this is all sold gamma above. All right, so this is the even number here, and about the 80, or is it the 85? These are slight positive gamma nodes. Since we're below, since since they're below and price were to come down into these, this would provide some slight demand into the marketplace. Positive gamma on the other side, about 66.40, give or take. All right, just giving you more of the conservative. 66.40, which is about right here, which would be positive gamma above price. So if we would rally up, that would provide some supply / resistance in terms of market maker perspective. All right, that's advanced stuff. So if you don't know this, you got to learn, and it takes time to learn that. Qs about to open now. I'm just gonna change this to a daily. All right, bell's about to ring. There it is. And it didn't go through no gaps. All right, got a daily on the left. All right, got a 2 on the right. Yeah, Joe Frank. Already in the morning earlier, I was already preparing for that, if you will. Just get a quick peek at internals. So far, continuation gap down. All right, VIX, super important to watch every day, but today specifically already being up. Advanced declines to negative 900. Extreme would be positive or negative 2,000. So advanced declines, so lower here, well below the zero line there. Volume, vol D, vol up versus down on New York Stock Exchange, down 2.73 as a ratio. Extreme would be positive or negative 3. So pretty extreme there, down volume. All right. Let's update this. Options depth, make sure this is good. All right. Google hurting a little bit there. All right, so we're already at the SPX and trading below the 6,600. We just started out though, right? So let me see, 80s. We got Google. Up and down there. Coming into a level though, I want to be cautious with that. ExxonMobil completely bucking the trend here. MSTR has breakaway gap. Breaking down. Some weekly lows in here. 299. MSTR, which you want to lean against on the long put side. All right, so MSTR long put bearish. I see all these mag 7s. I want to be a bit patient with this gap down here on those. MSTR long put, which would be bearish here. Excuse me. We're trading 710s. I'm sorry, 310s. So yeah, maybe pick up the 305 long put. This is the 305 long put, which would be bearish MSTR. Spread's a little wide on this, which is kind of annoying, but still good to go. Excuse me. September 26th expiration. All right. All right, are we going to sell some out here? Bing bong. All right. God, this restream slows my computer down so much. All right, I'll write the notes later. All right, but if you missed this, you might be able to get pull back on this. I need to snag this in my other account. So here we could put maybe a pullback order in here. I'm going to put the pullback order back in the 350 handle on these. All right. All right, right out the gate. MSTR. Let's put another sell short limit order here. So short body cover, body cover, body cover. Limit order in to get some in, right? All right, spies. Microsoft holding the bid. Tesla coming from those monthly highs. Sell low to go lower. God, this slows my computer down. Anybody working some SPY puts? Jeez, come on. It's much better if you go to the actual trade room at Phantoms. There's no delay here. So kind of annoying. All right, Walter. Got to take care of the kids. All right, so there we go. We're flushing down a bit. Tesla, if you snag some Tessie. Oh, come on. This is annoying. Should be way more quicker. This thing is so fucking slow. With this fucking restream. Fuck this shit. Fucking costing me money. I want to bounce out of here. Fuck that. I can't trade like this. Join fucking Phantoms. Where there's no delay. Because this is delaying my computer. It's costing me too much money these days now. So slow. It's now late on Tessie. I'm about to have a daily low sweep here. Good job, Mark Wahlberg. That was fucking easy. Wide range bar setup. Opposite of what happened yesterday. We caught this, smacked this long. That's annoying. All right, relax. So we got this shit's annoying, blessing. I would already. It's just taking so long for everything. I'm just like literally missing a couple of trades here. I don't mean to bitch and complain, but it's like, come on, man, what the fuck? Great. This restream platform it just slows everything down. I can't even get options depth up. All right, this is monthly VWAP that we're kind of coming into. We got that Fed low, what have you, at what, the 66.11, give or take. So it's what, 20 more points lower. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. It could, definitely. It could. But that's about, about 24. So you're talking about SP, there goes that 65.50. So that's where you kind of really want to look to take some more bounces over there. If I get some options depth up, right? No, it was right up and I just click refresh. No, come back. There we go. Come back. All right, so check this out. Stay calm, cool, collected here, right? 65.50. Massive blue shade / green here with a massive bot put, and even right below that, 265.45. These are all bot puts to the right here, right? We also have positive charm, even though charm's not going to be that much of an effect just yet. But in short, in English, if SPX gets down to the 65.50, which is what 20, 25 odd points lower, okay, this would be where you'd want to, and that's also going to be at or around last week's low as well, even on this. All right, so if this computer wasn't so, or if this stuff wasn't so dang slow, we could be already starting to work some puts here, take some profit off of this monthly VWAP base here. Okay, but we could flush out a little bit more lower, 20-something odd points lower, and then as YT, what Joe was mentioning there, 20 points here would take us down into what? The 66 610, 6600 in the S&P futures. So in short, if I were to ask y'all a question, is there a ton of confluence down here on the S&P complex? Yes or no? S&P futures, SPX, last week's low, Fed low, etc., and options market maker gamma exposure. As prices coming down into this positive gamma, market makers would have to buy into this, which is going to create some demand in there. Okay, which is going to create some demand in here at the 65.50 handle, and that lines up with a lot of other confluences as well. Now we just tagged this monthly VWAP right here, right? So all of these, this is going to be the positive gamma. 55 into just the 45, which is going to create some demand. This is what Joe Frank and the team was talking about. All right, MSTR, TP sum, hit a 6. All right. Definitely could have did some more with Tessie and things like that, but just got to move on. All right, now we're getting a, right, so we're getting pinched right now. This monthly view up, this is today's view up. So if you wanted to engage short, as we rally up into VWAP, daily VWAP that is, up into the 6,600, this is where you can start to begin to leg into some bearish. All right, because I missed already the initial pump off open there, right? Yep, there you go. Good job, Bob. I can run a fade VWAP too. All right, so what is this? We rally up to 6,600, has a small little baby positive gamma node right there, which is an even number as well. All right, so if we get up to the 65, 90, 95, and here, daily, VWAP. So let's see what the SPX $55 would look like. Apple being a creep, holding bids. Tesla went down, went to on the daily low tag there on a mean revert up in the VWAP there. The Mag 7 getting a little healthier. Just off a bounce so far. NVIDIA creep. Now NVIDIA actually good eye. See these daily lows, and NVIDIA actually has good eye a fakey breaky bar here. The positive COG. NVID. Off some monthly view ups. Y'all see that? All right, this is worth a shot here. That's a fakey breaky right there. Drink right that daily low. Long call. The vid. Who said that? Mark Wahlberg, of course. It's Mark Wahlberg. Let's go. My guy. This is a bullish trade while S&P's are down, at least for the moment, right? What are you trading? 175 handle on the vid. It would pick up the 177.5 if you want to keep it a low delta. If you want to get some more juice and some more delta, you can pick up the 175. It's going for about $1.98. Sorry, $1.89 or what have you. All right, so watch out because it could be, you know, some fluff here. But I like that bar in terms of the fakey breaky. So this is the 175 strike call, bullish on the vid. Shout out Mark Wahlberg. All right, good job, Mark Wahlberg. Long call day trade. All right, let's put some limit orders out. All right, to TP, etc. God, this is so slow. I'm being patient on this rally up on the SPX to engage short. We'll see if I can get something going there on the vid. MSTR just filled. Anybody get filled more MSTR at 350 handle? You could TP some of those. NVIDIA hit prior day's low break retest. So pull back. If you're ballsy, this would be an add to the vid going against the grain of spies, but this would be an add. Gotta be careful with this one though. All right, be careful, but the added one call. Markets are heavy though, so gotta be careful with that one. Anybody snag some SPX or SPY puts? Come on, man. This is not good. Good morning. Positive P 655. Avgo yesterday at rush hour. TP'd at low. Not sure about reentry yet. Maybe better. Yeah. Great transportation. Good job, brother. So you got those. The new lows there for today. Yeah, I would say just be patient. Right, because when I'm looking at futures, things are heavy a little bit right there now. Things are a little heavy right now. But just remember, we're away, right? We're here, so down. So, there'll be some kind of correction, right? There'll be some kind of correction. All right, and I already know you know. Just be patient on that. Anybody snag some of this? As we rallied up into this area here, some shorts. Oh, this is killing me. This is killing me. It's delayed for you folks. It's delayed for me. It's delayed for everybody. Not ideal. Netflix 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. All right, so I'm gonna try my best here. This is not cool, just in terms of the delay. If you do go to TradePhantoms, the live trade room, there's no delay, and there's no the restream platform. It slows everything down. As you can see, it's just brutal right now. I'm already, my brain's already on the next 2 clicks, and this thing's not even loaded yet. What I'm trying to leave y'all with is this. We made most of the notes on the SPX, right? So I'll stay there. Let that load. NVIDIA VWAP battle testing. Advanced decline still lower, making lower lows. Vol D low down. Cumulative tick below the 0 line. And VIX still holding up at 7/8%. Looking sturdy. So if VIX starts to break down below here, the drop could be a little bit more stopped, right? More basing. The VIX continues to spike. So what I'm trying to leave y'all with is this, right? So I got a daily time frame on the left there. Now, NVIDIA already did something where they rallied up. Since we had a breakaway gap lower, NVIDIA already came up and tested its prior day low on the other side and rejected very firmly. Now we have a VWAP test on NVIDIA, and that could give up potentially, right? So definitely want to, I'm giving y'all some key takeaways for the rest of the session so you guys can get help there, right? So in the event that we do break here, there's the unfilled gap, but of course, watch out for that retest yesterday's low that we gapped down. We have the first initial push there. Shout out to monthly VWAP. Super important there. Orange monthly VWAP, literally for the month of September. The team was on that. Money Mike, Mark Wahlberg team, right? And if I'm missing anybody else, apologies for that. Y'all know I love y'all, right? That's the monthly VWAP right there. Boom, tag to a T, right? That's something that YT was asking for too, as well, right? Earlier talking about the monthly or weekly VWAP, right? So we have daily down, we have monthly here, and we're in a little bit of a pinch here, but now we just have negative COG below this, so we can ride some puts here for this equal to or new low. As we get down into this area here, TP aggressively puts, and this would be the area and or the location where you could potentially take a TP from bearishness, right, and then start to plug in some long plays, bullish trades here. Okay, so essentially, yes, in a perfect world, we want something that looks like this: impulsion, correction. I'm not sure if it's going to be like this. Impulsion, right? So if short, make sure you're TPing on these new equal to or lower lows. Now, if this cannot make a new low, start to base. Okay, well, watch out for a fakey breaky real quick and potentially going higher. All right, still a macro bull uptrend. All right, but that would be the plan of action. So it would still remain short, lower, high. This would have to get battle tested. We'd have to basically clear above 6,000, and watch out for a liquidity sweep here too. Okay, but yeah, this would be TP from shorts. And then as we start to get lower and lower, this is for sure going to be where not only it's going to be blues or buys, this is going to be where we can also now begin to leg into some bullish trades. All right, as mentioned. All right, be patient. All right, this did not make a new low yet. So this is still the impulsion move here, just off rip, off the gate. Apologies for the bad words and stuff, but I like to move fast, and my computer is just lagging because of this restream BS. All right, so potentially pending new low. If we start to reclaim back up here, get above here, watch out for a liquidity sweep, but we'll see. All right, we got fade view up there on low. We're starting to make negative. We're below that a little bit, but we're starting to get a little choppy, which is okay, normal for now. But yeah, we got the power of the monthly here, holding up versus daily down, and we're in a little bit of a fight. All right, NVIDIA. What are we doing with NVIDIA, team? Already had TPs out here, right? So NVIDIA just popped. What do we do, team? TP, right? Good job, Mark Wahlberg. Credit to him. Credit to him, her. Mark Wahlberg. I love VWAP. Me too, William. Not an easy trade, Mark Wahlberg, but you nailed it, brother. Folks, hired monthly VWAP, 2 monthly VWAPs here, around here, daily lows. The video always, of course, still in a overall higher high, uptrend, a little rangy over the past couple of weeks, albeit post earnings. Okay, great, but we got monthly VWAP here, monthly VWAP, and in closing, check this out. I always bring this up. Candlestick location. It's not the greatest here, but buy low, sell high, right? Orange, some monthly view ups. This is, yesterday's low, yesterday's high. We swiped, we gap down. Daily time frame here, we gap down, we opened there, right? So we opened below this, we swiped lower, went to the next daily low down in here. So this daily low right in here, tag, that's a daily low right there, in blue, already prepped. That is a daily low tag, right? Daily low in the context of an uptrend still, albeit very rangy and kind of mid-range too, but albeit NVIDIA still in an overall up on NVIDIA. Now, real quick, in regard to this candlestick formation right here, we have red bar down here, we have a little bit of a topping tail there, and then this candle right here told me everything that I needed to know. Well, why? Because that is at a daily low, the next daily low, monthly VWAP, 2 of them right there, okay? And then we have a, there's a wick there. Okay, whatever. All right, but we have open here. We swiped lower, and then immediately what? We immediately with what's called a fakey breaky, right? Fakey breaky, fakey breaky, fakey breaky. Okay, back above some monthly VWAP. Okay, and then we started to pop right back above here. Okay, positive COG. Right, there's the trigger. All right here. Okay, could even TP'd some. All right, then let that get scared out already. Everybody right there, right? Then we pull back, added, and then we're gone. So that is the formation in the proper location, right? With higher time frame monthly VWAPs here. So even though we dropped down over the past couple of days, monthly VWAP here, right? Inside bar, we got daily low here. The other only daily low or weekly low would have been down in here. That's a weekly low. That's the only last or latest and greatest daily low before we get down into this potential weekly low down here, right? But for today, okay, this formation wise, this happened right there, very powerful bar. Now, why did this topping tail get right? Because there's a topping tail here, meaning bearish down, and then there's a bottoming tail, bullish up. Okay, now those are opposing candles, right? But why did Mark bring our attention to this? Because the higher time frames are what, folks? Yes, SPYs are down. Yes, Qs are down. But we have monthly VWAP here. We have daily lows here, buy low, okay? But we have a 2-minute time frame with a topping tail at daily lows, at monthly VWAP on a pullback. So is this 2-minute time frame coming in a bearish candle? But is that 2-minute time frame at lows or at highs? This is at daily lows, right? Does that make sense? So what's more powerful? We have a topping tail here, but we have a bottoming tail here. Which one's going to be more powerful? We can't guess that. We're going to refer to the higher time frames. Higher time frames are still up. We got monthly VWAP here. Okay, positive COG gone. Buyers are taking over. Right? Does that make sense? Then we have a new high, right? New high, pullback added to that, and then now we have a new high. And what are we going to do, team? Here, let's TP that. All right. Does that make sense? If it doesn't make sense, join Phantoms. If you don't join Phantoms, I don't care. That trade came from a member, not myself. I am not here to be cool. Okay, I'm here to help people. Right? I almost ended this just because this computer's so slow, and I missed a couple of trades off the open. But I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Crashed out a little bit though, because I want speed, man. Let's go. Let's move. All right, good job, Mark Wahlberg and team. Everybody else, if I'm missing anybody. Good job. Long trading day. Yep, Bob, good job. Credit goes to Mark Wahlberg. I don't take credit for nothing. There's no I in team. But there's an M in Modi. Don't buy now. Sell now. All right, I'm out of here, folks. I'm going to get my speed back after I do this. Good job, team. Everybody, I'll give you one last look at options depth. That 65.50 handle is powerful. There's a lot of stuff down there. How are we going to get there? I don't know. We're battle testing 6,000 at the moment. But I got to piss. And this is just killing me. All right, that's sad. Enough of that. Go to trade. Where did Mark start? Where did everybody, some of the folks here at where did Modi start? The #1 phantom ever. He went to TradePhantoms.com. All right, most retail traders lose. Dumbasses. Let's help you fix that shit, right? You click on register there. Make sure it's the right phantom. There's a lot of fakes out there these days now, right? Mr. Green, Mr. Blue, myself, Mr. Black will never DM you, never ask you for money. There's a bunch of fakes out there. I don't talk to nobody on social media. I'm a hermit, all right? So I'm not asking you for money. I don't need your fucking money, okay? I'm not. Yeah. So if you're still getting scammed by those Nigerian princes that email you and you are going to be a queen if you send him $5,000, do you deserve to lose money? All right, watch out for scams out there. Make sure it's the official website of the on socials. All right, today being Thursday the 25th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 hours away, 8 hours and 50 minutes to be exact. If you were to put your name and email and your phone number in there, click on attend, you'll get registered for about a 90-minute class hosted by the Mr. Black or the Mr. Green. I don't do these classes. I don't want to do them. I don't like basic shit no more. I don't even like. I digress. How markets work, all professional traders. All right, not just about stocks, futures, forex, options, even crypto these days. If you're just starting out, just side hustle, trading for income with a couple grand to your name, all good. If you're a little bit up there in terms of age on the wealth side and retirement age, with a couple millions or millions of dollars, tens of millions, or even a couple 100,000, give or take, managing retirement, that's also good as well, right? We do everything here, everything in the middle. We have somebody who's in high school, okay, still in high school, all the way to sold the business, retired, and looking to manage some money, keep the brain sharp, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Generational wealth, 70 plus, right, and everything in the middle there. All right, small accounts, big accounts, don't matter. Multi-direction, stock, futures, forex, options, multi-directions. We can even sell credit and have money, make money if things go sideways. Be careful with that. Do that with caution. But yeah, you'll see what it's like here at Phantoms. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, great as well. Shake your hand and part ways. And we'll continue to do our thing here at Phantoms. S&P is breaking out a little bit there. Get to work on that, boys and girls, traders. Right now, Mr. Blue, yours truly, I'm going to digress from this, and I'll see some of y'all later today in the afternoon for class. And then tomorrow, we got no delay on Livestorm in the live trade room, so we're going to hit it with no delay. And I'm sure the Phantom members will be on top of it for some valid setups to help others. God bless. Take care. Blue out. TradePhantoms.com.